Well, listen.
Listen.
You won't even let me finish a sentence here. We have so many questions. We're going to get to them later in the show. But there is one I want to bring up here at the top of the show because we have been inundated with questions about a specific issue. Obviously, a very hot-button issue in the world of professional wrestling was your comments about Becky Lynch and her pregnancy. For the record, I don't agree with your comments. I want to make sure I get that out there for everybody. But someone who seems to be quite upset is Seth Rollins, who you previously knew under his name Tyler Black in Ring of Honor, and you obviously had a good relationship with him. It appears that you have hurt his feelings with your thoughts about this matter, and I wanted to give you a chance here at the top of the show to address Seth Rollins' feelings and just where you are at currently with your thought process on this.
Well, by the way, but you sure just jumped away quickly from the fucking line of fire, and I don't agree with them, and we'll talk about that in a second. But no, honestly, I feel bad that I hurt Seth Rollins' feelings. I do. Seriously, legitimately, this is not part of a bit. I felt bad that I hurt his feelings. I wouldn't have felt bad if I'd have made him mad, because people in the wrestling business get mad all the time, right? And I feared he might get mad because when I was criticizing the timing of the incident, he had a hand in the timing. So I thought he might get a little mad about that. And, people get mad all the time and blah, blah, blah. So that would have been, but when he said I actually hurt his feelings, that made me feel bad because I did not believe that I said anything that should have hurt Seth Rollins' feelings. And the bone of contention where I hurt his feelings was that I said bad things about his wife. And obviously that would tend to hurt one's feelings. But, and I want you to help me here, Mr. Don't Agree With Me Either. Let's go back. And did I say anything bad about Becky Lynch as a talent or as a person? I said she was the biggest female wrestling star in the world, and maybe the biggest in the world, because there ain't a lot of big male stars these days. That's not bad. I said she was a female Stone Cold that put her that she was a huge box office draw and the most important member of the women's division. I never say anything about her looks. I think she's a very attractive young lady. I did paint a less than rosy picture about the physical effects of pregnancy, but I have heard these things, and never having been pregnant by myself, from all the pregnant women I've ever heard talk about being pregnant, have said these things happen. Did I quote any side effects of pregnancy that do not exist? I don't believe I did. But I didn't say anything bad about Becky Lynch as a person. I put her over as a talent. And I was talking about the astonishing timing of the situation. And and I don't know whether that Seth had heard the actual show or whether he just read the clip or read the text of it on that everybody was clipping and putting on their little play websites where they play Wrestling Reporter, which was a little harsher than the overall tone of the piece. But I didn't say that, and I've actually in the past I've said Seth Rollins is an amazing worker and one of the best in-ring talents that looks like a superstar, and I've taken issue with how they present him. They've managed to make him boring with this Monday Night Messiah thing. But the overall bigger picture was I didn't say anything bad about Becky Lynch, besides the fact that she had gone and got pregnant at a time when she has attained a spot that few ever attain and that all aspire to in the business, and is making a shit ton of money. So that's the worst thing I said about Becky Lynch. Did I miss anything, Brian?
I don't recall you saying anything specific about Becky Lynch or her as a person or anything like that.
Okay. Thank you very much. You sound like Tony Schiavone when I would ask a question as a heel that he had to answer in the affirmative and agree with me. I had to drag it out of you. But the thing what Seth also went on to say, though, was the whole thing about this mindset. It's misogyny and women and the mindset must be eradicated. And it was like I said these horrible things about her and her mother and her dog and her whatever the fuck. And that I hope the kid was sold in service of Satan or whatever. It's like, this is because I said, what the fuck at the timing, and you're the biggest star in the world and you're making a lot of money. I even said on the program that aired after the fact, the next program when we followed up, this doesn't apply to all women. I don't. As a matter of fact, they can go and have a baby. I can't stop them. But I don't have an opinion on all women having a baby. I have an opinion on a woman having a baby when she's in a specific instance where it throws the entire program and other co-workers and the whole fucking shooting match into disarray. Whether she be the star of the hottest television program on network television, someone who can't be pregnant. Can you imagine, when Linda Carter was Wonder Woman, if she showed up pregnant? Wonder Woman's looking a little heavy these days. Or if the same thing would apply if it had been Ronda Rousey as UFC champion, being promoted in a big pay-per-view fight that was going to make her and other people literal tens of millions of dollars, and suddenly, nope. Or and the TV thing has happened in some case. Remember in the 60s, 70s situation comedies, they'd have a woman carrying a laundry basket around or a pot of flowers or something when her character was not supposed to be pregnant. But when you have an athlete, somebody on the Olympic team, the star Olympic gymnast, every 4 years they get their opportunity and the star is suddenly pregnant before the fucking Olympics and all the other team members, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm talking about. You can be a bank teller and get pregnant and still be a bank teller, or a fucking lawyer, or a doctor, or not when you're actually giving birth, obviously. I think you have to take a little time off, but you see where I'm going with this. It doesn't not only affect your millions of dollars and what you've worked for all your life, but everybody else's millions of dollars and what they've been working for. And as a promoter and booker for more time than I was a talent, I've had people quit the business on me in the middle of a run. I've had people fucking take other more lucrative offers in the middle of a run. I've had people get fucked up on drugs and just leave in the middle of a run. But I can't imagine at that level somebody being the biggest star in a business and poof. So that's where I was going with that. Here's another thing. I hope that all the people who were outraged on Twitter, I should just say people on Twitter, because if you're on Twitter, you're obviously outraged. But the people who are outraged on Twitter about he thinks he can decide whether a woman has a baby or not. Think about the or not part, because there's a lot of people out there that think it's just fine for you to have a baby. But the or not part is where they draw the line. And a lot of them actually, instead of just doing podcasts and expressing shock and dismay that somebody don't want to make that fucking however many $1 million next year, they actually make laws and public policy. And with them, a woman can have a baby, but the or not part is a big issue. So, and there really isn't a choice without the or not part, is there? If you take the or not out, the choice kind of goes away with it. So if you're blistering me because I'm telling Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch that they can't have a baby, then go out there and blister the people who really are telling all of you, whether you are bank tellers or fucking attorneys or goddamn street sweepers or whatever. The ones telling all of you whether you can have a baby or not. So I'm sorry I hurt Seth's feelings. But once again, I think the millions of dollars that they have made will probably assuage his feelings. And as far as Cornette's just such a misogynist because he doesn't think women should have a baby. As long as it's not my baby, I don't give a fuck what you do. But I'm entitled to the right to tell you you're fucking crazy for what you're giving up. But I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. So, I got an idea. If anybody wants to, let's say that one of the listeners out there just happens to win the lottery And with all that 60 or 80 or $100 million he wins, he starts his own wrestling promotion, because what do fucking rich marks with too much money and not enough product knowledge and fucking experience do? They start wrestling promotions. And he somehow finds the biggest women's wrestling star in the universe, and she's on top, and suddenly she gets pregnant in the middle of her contract, and he wants to sue her for her money. Who is he going to call?
Call Stephen P. News. If you need to sue. An outlaw mud show or two. He'll sue their ass.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to be a wrestling promoter and you have the biggest star in the business, male or female, working for you, and suddenly they get pregnant or just say in the middle of their contract, well, we ain't going to do this anymore, but they still want you to pay them, well, then naturally you're going to call Stephen P. New. But since that might not happen to everybody in the audience,